I don't think I ever would have predicted it for myself, you know? It just wasn't at all the path. Like I had no one in my family who was an entrepreneur, nobody who had run a business before or anything like that. So I just didn't know it was a possibility for me. I just fell into it.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Always be creative.
Yeah.
Remember in that boat last gala that we did, they told me, okay, Harry, this is the budget, this is how much it is there, but then you need to pay 4,000, 6,000 pounds on top. And I'm like, 6,000 on top? Why? They said,
Yeah.
well, the boat had to move. And I said, what? He said, yeah, the boat had to move. So we need petrol, we need salary for the captain. The thing had to move. So we're going to be sailing for the whole river. And it's 6,000 more for that. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
said, listen, hold on, why we gonna move this thing? Keep the boat, stay. I said the money. We open the bridge at the end of the event. The thing is gonna move anyway, but can we do it for a fraction of the cost? They say, okay, Harry, this is what you want. We move the boat and we open the bridge at the end. I said, there you go. The boat
It
is gonna
never hurts
move
to
anyway.
ask, right? The
Exactly.
worst they can do is say no.
Exactly. I'm
Um,
thinking why you guys want to move this boat. I do all my events in hotel all the time and they are all static. So so again, if you're
yeah.
creative, you can save still with the I think with
Yeah.
the budget in the and you always have friends and use maybe Jessica the resources that people have. But now, Jessica, what resources do you have apart from information? Yeah, in the network that you have built with so many years that you actually can help them, in terms of maybe, I don't know, venues that you can recommend that they work with you, or videographer or photographer, or I don't
Yeah.
know. I
It's an
don't know about
area.
the people that do the
Yeah.
cake and everything. I think this is also separate. I remember because that was my task to go and pick up the cake and to give back the cake. And this is
Oh, that was your
the
special errand.
that was, yeah, and I remember it was
Yes.
was tough because I had to go a lot way too far because that was the place that they make the cakes, that they whatever. So I had to
Yeah.
I had to go there to collect it and to give back out the board and everything. So any resources that they are affordable for couples that you have built within your network doing this for every
Yeah,
year, where can they
definitely.
find these resources? How can they find your content, and how can they find these resources? Tell us how this process works.
Yeah, of course. So, our website is thebudgetsavvybride.com. There's tons of articles there that you can search by subject matter. So that's a good place to start. We also have a directory for wedding suppliers or wedding vendors
Wow.
called the Savvy Wedding Guide. We are currently trying to grow it. It's based in the US, but filterable by the 50 states in the US, and looking for more vendors to list their businesses there, because it is a great place to get discovered by couples who are looking for those resources. And so that's an area of the business that we're growing. We launched it about a year ago, and beyond that, we also have a paid community. So we have a membership platform where
Oh,
couples can
wow.
join and get access to tons of exclusive content inside. I do Q&As with the community. They can ask me specific questions. I'll give them feedback and advice on their weddings, and their various plans, any sort of questions they might have along the way. And I'm working on sort of like a course that goes along with that,
Oh,
because
wow. That's a lot of
I don't
value.
lots of things to find. Another thing I don't think I've mentioned yet, but I have a book out there in the world. It's actually one of the top selling wedding planning books.
What's the title?
Probably
Where can
probably in
we
the
get
last.
this book?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called The Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer. It's available most places books are sold. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, Target, depending on where you're watching from. It's sold over 250,000 copies so far.
Wow.
The second edition just came out last month. So it's expanded. It started just as a paperback book, and now we just came out with a version that is a three-ring binder, so couples can actually put all their contracts and inspiration and stuff inside their binder. So it makes it a bit more interactive
And
and
they can have
useful
the
for
book with
them
them.
in their
Ah, wow.
plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
So
way, if people can save 20, 30% or 40% in the wedding, we're talking about a lot of money, huh? They
yeah,
actually
I think
they
so.
actually can have the wedding and buy the house if they
Yeah.
follow your advice and for
That's what
the
we
I
want
mean
for everyone.
17 years of experience is a lot of it's the same time that I'm been in business. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of experience and a lot of ideas that actually the community had contribute. And I know for a fact that when I see the figures that the people spend in the events that they do out there, I'm like, guys, I think you're spending too much.
I
So
mean,
I
we
see the
listen,
figures
but we
of
don't
people.
judge, but
Yeah, yeah. I think that, when
but
I
I can
see,
think of better ways to spend that money personally,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. I think
to
when
each
I
their
see
own.
the people, doing events out there and in London and on the States, and I see, I'm like, guys, if you with a little bit of creativity, you can save a lot of money because events
Yeah.
are expensive. This is
It's very
something that,
expensive. I'm not sure what the averages are in the UK, but in the US, they're being
oh,
reported
in
at
the
around
UK, tell me
around
about it.
35. I think the US average is between 30 and $35,000 for a wedding in the US, which I don't know how accurate
Yeah,
that is, but that's what
in
they're reporting.
UK will be a little bit more, I think. Um,
Yeah.
the which is again, you can buy a house for that money. So imagine if you can
Yeah,
save
put a down
40%,
payment on something.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
100%, and the couple has somewhere to live. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think now, um, let's talk about your journey as an entrepreneur. Usually, a lot of people on this podcast on the top of 5 step how to make the first million, even myself, right? We all have become entrepreneurs by accident. We start to
Yep.
solve a problem by ourselves, and then after we solve it for ourselves, we solve for another people. My first business was in property. We managed to sell over 5 million, but I started because I was paying too much rent myself. I decided to rent a house and rent the house by rooms, so then my room would be free. And
Mm-hmm.
then I saved my and then I'm thinking, well, if I keep doing this, the same amount that I'm saving, I can make it for money, more money, and then provide the service. We call it landing services. People were arriving to London and they want to learn English. They finish university, so they were only interested in a room with good internet because the rest of the time they're gonna be or working or partying. So they didn't care too much about the living room. They never spent time there. So we turned the living rooms into rooms, and then we did an amazing business landing services in mind before Airbnb and everything. So it was amazing. But the whole concept is that trying to solve a problem for yourself, and then you start to helping other people to solve this problem. So when you solve this problem for yourself, when was the moment that you have that click that you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to start to build a business out of this, and I'm gonna help other people to do it, rather than go out there and find a good paid job and have a very and have a life where you go 9 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, you don't need to worry about anything. And corporate America, they pay good money. So why you decided that no, I'm not gonna go to that route and I'm gonna become an entrepreneur? Do you really knew what you were getting into? Because I
I
didn't, yeah.
didn't I didn't know what I was getting into, and I
Neither do
I
I, yeah.
honestly didn't even realize I had a business on my hands
Yeah.
until about a year after I started the blog. I got married, and by that point, I had generated a decent following. I had about 1,000 people visiting my website every day at
Wow.
that point. And I wasn't doing any advertising. I was just writing content. And back in the day, people would link to each other's blogs and comment on each other's blogs. And so it just kind of grew word of mouth that way.
Wow.
And then I had some companies reach out and ask if I would be open to putting advertising for their businesses on my website. And it was at that point that, I spoke to a friend of mine who actually was my wedding photographer, who I was doing a little bit of freelance work for at the time. And she was like, "Oh, like this is a business. We could build a business plan for you out of this, and like you could really do something with this." And so, sort of with her guidance, I like put some things together and started, doing more of those opportunities when they came in. And then it just grew really organically over time. And I just realized along the way that I much preferred working on something for myself that was helping people, that was making a difference in people's lives, that I had control of, and that I had, autonomy over my time, freedom of like how much time I wanted to put in, how much money I could make. And ultimately, like looking backwards now, I realize like it was always what I was meant to do, run my own business, but I don't think I ever would have predicted it for myself, It just wasn't at all the path. Like I had no one in my family who was an entrepreneur, nobody who had run a business before or anything like that. So I just didn't know it was a possibility for me. I just fell into it. So yeah, it's a surprise, but it's been a
Interesting
process and a
journey.
journey that I'm really proud of. Yeah.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.